I now call upon the President to address Congress.
Sisters and brothers, what a huge honour it is to be your President, to chair this great Congress, to celebrate our trade union values. And I think the film we've just seen says it all. Our movement is about fighting injustice. Injustice that saw thousands of trade unionists blacklisted, that saw the Shrewsbury pickets wrongly imprisoned, that led to that grotesque cover-up at Orgreave, the real enemy within, the police, the judiciary, who've colluded for decades. And a word too about Hillsborough. I was born and bred in Liverpool. It's a city I share with so many in this room. A city that was trashed and vilified by the media, but a city that fought back, led by the magnificent Hillsborough families, and amidst their grief and sorrow, they let nothing and nobody stand in their way. Congress, they are an inspiration to us all, but let us, from this Congress, send a clear message, not just to the Hillsborough families, but to the mining communities, to anyone fighting injustice here and across the globe, that this trade union movement will always stand with you. Solidarity in words, but solidarity in action. And it's been another tough year for us all, but tougher still for those we represent. And over the past year, I met loads of people, politicians, business leaders, the great and the good. But those that impress and inspire me the most are our activists and our members, the people who make our movement what it is, who share our values of equality, of dignity, of fairness, and who give so much to our movement. And when I became president last year, it all felt a bit bleak. The Tories had just won their first election in 23 years. The Draconian Trade Union Act loomed on the horizon. It did feel we were under siege. But Congress, what a difference a year can make. In the past year, we held our nerve and we found our fight. That demo in Manchester, a show of strength, of defiance. The lobby of Parliament, our biggest and our best. Mobilising, organising, influencing what we do best. Heart Union Week, a clever and quirky way of reminding the world what we stand for. Celebrating our work, showcasing our wins. Congress, we should do it more often. And from the outset, those Tories with their sneering arrogance, they thought they could crush us. Finish off Thatcher's work and finishing off for good. But in fact, they did the opposite, because I believe that we found our fire last year and that we found our fight. But now we have to challenge that fight like never before to protect all that we hold dear. Our public services, our welfare state, our industries, to campaign for that vision of a better world where people matter more than their profit. A world that works for the many, not just the few, and that offers hope to everyone, particularly those that live in fear and in poverty, and to challenge the Tories every step of the way. And Congress, don't be fooled by this new leader. This is our new start line. The softer voice, the kitten heels. Theresa May is every inch a Tory, and we need to fight for our class like they do for theirs. And that's why we need unity, why we need strength to grow and to fight back, to organise all those young workers who need a better deal at work every day. And this year we have seen what solidarity can achieve. Unions working together, setting aside differences, a real sense of shared purpose, to tackle the tough challenge we all face. Our NHS teetering on the brink, our industries under siege, Victorian employment practices re-emerging, Sports Direct, ASOS, and so many more. Sexism and harassment in the workplace rife again. but deeply worrying Congress, the vile and dangerous rise in racism unleashed by Brexit. The far right now on the march, quite literally across the continent. These are our challenges. And never has our trade union mattered more than we should invest, and our messages are more important than ever. Our schools, our hospitals, our housing, all vital. That all workers, wherever they work, should be treated equally. That they should be paid the rate for the job, regardless of their race, their age, or their gender. No undercutting, no exploitation, and no race to the bottom. Congress, migrants aren't the problem. The real enemies are the bosses who exploit them and the Tories who cut our public services. That is our fight, and that's why we need to battle on. And Congress, I can think of no better person to lead that fight than Frances. I'm incredibly proud to have worked alongside Frances this year, and we've had our own little bit of girl power. Frances leads by example, and I know where she leads, many other women will follow. And to Paul and Kevin and all the staff at the TUC, thank you for all your support, your professionalism, but more crucially, your friendship over the past year. You are a great team. And to my own brilliant union, Unison, thank you for your never-ending support. You are like a family. Unison is a special union. It's got 1 million women for a start. The jobs our members do, their dedication, their pride in the job, doing so much for so little, and I'm incredibly proud to be part of Unison. Thank you to you all. And to my real family, the centre of my life, to my mum and dad, two of the kindest, most special people you could ever meet. I was never raised in a house where we sat round dinner tables discussing politics. My dad worked nights, and anyway, we always had tea, not dinner. But I was raised in a busy, welcoming home where the door was always open and the kettle was always on. A home where some simple values were instilled in me, my brother and my sister. Values lived out every day by my mum and dad and shaped too by their Catholic faith. First, that you worked hard and you gave your all. Secondly, that you reached out and you looked out for other people. You helped each other no matter how busy you were. And finally, that you shared. No matter how little you had, my mum always said, there is always enough to share. These are principles that drive and guide me today, and I thank my mum and dad for that. And to my lovely daughters, Emma and Lauren, you two are the kindest, most generous, perhaps untidiest girls on earth, but you make me laugh every day, and you remind me and your dad what life really is all about. Thank you for having belief in me. And last by no means least, Dave, who sat right in front of me. My partner of 27 years, my mum says people have been made saints for less. I met Dave 27 years ago at the Nalgo staff Christmas party. It gets no classier than that. But for all those years, Dave has been a constant source of unquestioning support and gentle encouragement. And even in this year, when you've had your own election, you've always put me and the girls first. From our early morning cups of tea to late night lifts from the station when we've missed the last train. Thank you, Dave, for your support this year and the last 27. So Congress, back to business. This is our week for us to tell the world what we stand for, to celebrate our wins and to raise our heads high, to tell a positive story about the difference every one of us makes to people's lives every hour of every day. Congress, we're at a critical point in our history, our proud trade union history. And if there's one lesson we should never forget, it's that our people and our class were never handed anything on a plate. Nothing was ever given graciously, and nothing came without a fight. So that old saying, unity is strength, has never mattered more. We rise together or we fall together. It's as simple as that. So let's stand together this week as trade unionists, as workers, and as friends, treating each other with dignity and respect. That fighting spirit we've rekindled this year, let's use it to fight the real enemy, the Tories. Congress, let's organise, let's campaign, and Congress, let's win. Thank you.
I now call upon Len McCuskey to move a vote of thanks to the President.
Well, Congress, I'm delighted to deliver this vote of thanks to my friend and fellow Liverpudlian, Liz Snape. Liz was politicised by our great city back in the 1980s, and she's been a fighter for working people all of her life. The seed of her activism was sown in those turbulent years as Thatcherism ravaged working class communities throughout our nations, including Liverpool. And they were heady days in my city, with the militant tendency the dominant political force, and Liz played her part in the politics of the day, working with Derek Hatton and Tony Mullane, and most importantly, holding court in the Vernon Arms pub, which you'll remember, Liz, was always a lock-in. She could drink, could our Liz, with the best of them. These days, she's become, like me, a southern softie, and so now she sips rosé wine with ice. She studied Spanish and Russian at university, and those linguistic skills have assisted her ever since in deciphering some of the gobbledygook that is often talked at political meetings. She then decided to go to the great metropolis, arriving at Euston Station not knowing where to go or what to do. Should she turn right or should she turn left? Well, she's always been on the left, so she turned left, walked into Nalgo offices, and in true Liverpool vernacular of the time said, "Gives a job." The rest is history. It was there, of course, as you've heard, that she met her beloved Dave. Although she's been heard to say on many occasions she wished she'd turned right on that fateful day at Euston Station. In her union, she's been a legal officer, equal opportunities officer, European policy officer, director of policy and political affairs. And 4 years ago, she became Assistant General Secretary, overseeing communications and political campaigning work in unison. Although I have to say, and I take pride in this, that Liz has been a lifelong member of my union, the Transport and General Workers Union, and now Unite. I think, that's how Unison often know what's going on in Unite, sometimes before I even do. She's been a champion for both women's rights and health and safety, serving on Women at Work Commission and the Health and Safety Executive, and you'll struggle to find an equalities or women's conference Liz has not played a role in. As recently as this month, she was continuing that work, launching the Labour Party's policy platform for advancing women's equality and leading the debate on the underrepresentation of women in our society, on economic inequality and tackling violence against women and girls. Let me tell you, colleagues, that presiding over our General Council is no minor task. There are often competing agendas, sometimes disagreements. And I've even heard it suggested that there's a few big egos and strong heads that need knocking together, although I'm not terribly sure who exactly that applies to. But I should tell you this conference, that Liz is one of the few people in our movement who frighten me. My mum used to give me a look. No words were ever needed when she was angry with me. That sent a shiver down my spine. Well, I don't know whether it's a Liverpool thing, but Liz has that same effect on me when she scowls at me. I can see Dave nodding. He knows what I'm talking about. And I have to tell you that she's been scowling at me quite a lot recently. But what I do know is that Liz has shown tremendous leadership over this last year. She's led from the front, rolled up her sleeves and dealt with the great challenges with her typically decent and indisputable skills and natural good humour. And for that, Liz, we're all very grateful. Because what a year it's been. As Liz said in that fantastic, passionate address she's just given, politically, internationally, and industrially. She took over following the election of the first Tory majority in over 2 decades, and you led, Liz, and won key concessions during the passage of the most vindictive anti-trade union legislation in generations. And you brought together unions on both sides of the argument when it came to the debate on Brexit, focusing our efforts as a movement on the outcome for working people, whatever the result. And what a time that has been to be at the helm. Of course, like anybody, Liz is not perfect. She has skeletons. She's a huge Arsenal fan, for example. By the way, you were dead lucky yesterday, dead lucky. Now, I don't know whether to blame Dave or her eldest daughter, Emma, for this, or to thank them, because Liz may well have been left in the depths of despair supporting Everton otherwise. There goes my remaining friendship with John Hannett, and I've no doubt that my own president, Tony Woodhouse, will have something to say. As for skeletons, well, I could tell you about a night in a Japanese karaoke bar in Tokyo. Liz is getting very nervous now. I can feel one of those scowls burning into the back of my neck. So, I don't know, maybe not. Suffice to say, she's not eaten sushi since. So let me finish, hoping, Liz, that you have a great conference and that we see the twinkle in your eye and feel the warmth of that wonderful smile. Conference, it gives me the greatest pleasure in moving the vote of thanks for our Liz. Thank you.
I now call upon Claire Williams to second vote of thanks to the President.
Thanks very much. Conference, Claire Williams from Unison. So I have to say it's with a huge pleasure and honour that I stand here today to second that vote of thanks to this year's TUC President, Liz Snape. And I do also think it's important to say how great has it been to have 2 women leading the trade union movement this year. And also, on a personal note, 2 women who are also Arsenal supporters like myself. Sorry about that, Len. But what a great start Liz had to her presidential year. It's already been referenced, but that massive demonstration in Manchester, with Liz at the helm showing her customary passion and determination to challenge this Tory government's pernicious policies of austerity, standing up for what we believe in, for trade unions and the labour movement, but also critically understanding the power of collective action over that of the individual. And Liz has continued that strong leadership throughout her year, and I have no doubt will continue that throughout this week. Liz has always been an inspirational leader within Unison and I believe the wider trade union and labour movement, being a passionate campaigner and giving people the confidence to get active in trade union and political activity. And I have to say that I know about that firsthand and on a personal basis. I met Liz as a young elected lay trade union activist. I'd like to say it wasn't that many years ago, but sadly it's more than I can admit to. But throughout all of those years, Liz provided me with mentoring, support and guidance, and also now in my new role as a regional secretary. Liz, though, has not only been a mentor to myself, but to many others in Unison and beyond. So today, I speak on behalf of those people, and I also speak on behalf of those people to whom I know Liz has shown genuine compassion and kindness. People like Kenny Bell, who was the elected Deputy Regional Convener from Unison in the Northern Region, who very tragically was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And what I'll tell you about Liz is a little known fact. Liz actually, without fuss, without making a great public show, quietly and without hesitation, contacted Kenny and supported him and others in our region through that difficult time. She supported him to remain politically active because she understands the importance of that to us as trade unionists, but she also understands that as activists we are also human beings who sometimes have to face very difficult personal challenges. And that's one of the reasons why I, along with many others, value Liz both as a friend and a comrade, both personally and politically. Mind you, that said, and Len has already alluded to this, if you disagree with Liz, she's not afraid to speak up her mind and to keep you in line. And she has done that to me on a couple of occasions and others. But what I will say is, Liz does that with genuine belief in what she's saying, but I guess it has also been useful, Liz, for you this year, because I do think it must be very hard keeping a lot of General Secretaries in line. But at least throughout the rest of this week, you have got a red button which you can use to chop people off if they go on too long. But I will say I've had an unconfirmed rumour, and it is unconfirmed, that Liz has said she's taking the red button home with her so she can switch Dave off if he goes on too long. What I'll also say, Liz is also a strong advocate for international solidarity, and I know within Unison she has particularly supported women capacity building projects, and those projects have made a significant and substantial difference to women's lives in places such as Colombia and Sierra Leone and many others. Liz also combines her passion for football with her strong commitment to promoting equalities in everything she does, but also fighting racism and fascism. And Liz has been a long-standing, ardent supporter of Show Racism the Red Card. And I know that that organisation is extremely grateful, Liz, for your support to them. Liz is a dedicated trade union and political activist who I know spends every day determined to make a difference, fighting for our principles of social justice, speaking up for and with Unison members and activists up and down this country tirelessly, and for all of those beyond Unison who are being unfairly targeted by this government's policies of austerity and attacking some of the most vulnerable people in our society. Liz is always leading from the front, making sure the Tories are challenged, making sure those employers who want to rip off workers are challenged, and every day she is unwavering in her commitment for achieving a different world. Because I know that Liz, like all of us in this hall, not only believes but knows together through collectivity a different world is possible. So Liz, I want to say a very heartfelt personal thanks from me for all that you've done for me over the years. I want to say a very big thanks from the Unison delegation, because I know that they rate you as one of the strongest leaders we've had, and I want to say a thanks from this Congress because I know they appreciate everything you've done this year and will do this week and beyond your term of office. So Liz, that's 3 thanks for me because you absolutely deserve it. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Len, and thank you, Claire. back to the President.
Yeah, thank you. Congress shall see I've been joined on stage by Luca, General Secretary of the TUC, and Luca will be speaking a little later. Delegates, we return to section 1 of the General Council report, Jobs, Growth and a New Economy, the section on Europe from page 2 onwards. I call paragraph 1.1 and composite number 1,